The strange thing about fame is that it builds invisible walls around a person and then quietly reveals how thin those walls really are. And with Jungkook, someone I've followed closely for 10 years as an army, someone whose kindness has remained his most consistent truth. This contradiction has never felt more painful than during the series of intrusion attempts at his home over the past year. For a man who has spent a decade giving fans sincerity, warmth, reassurance, music, vulnerability, and softness, watching him deal with strangers attempting to cross into his private space feels like a story that should never have belonged to him. The first intrusion attempt arrived only hours after Jungkook returned from his military service, a day that should have been filled with pride, relief, and peace, when a woman in her 30s approached his residence and repeatedly pressed the keypad beside his door. Not once, not twice, but persistently, as if a locked door was an invitation, not a boundary. It was a moment that changed the air around him, a reminder that someone can be adored by millions and still have the wrong person standing inches from their home. But it didn't end there. Months later, another woman managed to follow a resident's car into Jungkook's underground parking lot, one of the quietest, safest spaces a person should have. Parking garages are meant to echo with calm, not with fear. Yet someone who did not belong walked straight in because a gate took a few seconds too long to close. And when you picture Jungkook, the man who smiles shyly during live streams, who speaks to fans as if having a gentle conversation, who carries humility as naturally as breathing, imagining him walking into his own parking area, wondering who else might be there, becomes its own kind of heartbreak. Then came November. A Japanese woman in her 50s pressed the keypad at his home again and again across several days, November 12th to 14th, making it the third recorded intrusion attempt of the year. And what makes this incident especially chilling is the detail that she was carrying a suitcase. What story did she tell herself before pressing that keypad? What fantasy made her believe she belonged there with luggage in hand? A stranger with a suitcase standing at the home of a man who owes her nothing becomes an image that lingers long after the news fades. And even with all of this, Jungkook stayed exactly who he has always been. Calm, soft, polite, kind. Even when forced to set a boundary publicly, he did it with the same sincerity he shows when comforting fans. During his birthday livestream, he explained that he had watched the CCTV footage and said, with quiet firmness, "If you come, I'll lock you in. Everything is recorded. You will be taken away. Don't ever enter my home." Not anger, clarity. Not rage, self-protection. The words of someone who never wanted to speak like this, but finally had to. Because this is what so many intruders fail to understand. A home is not a destination. It is not yours to enter. Curiosity is not permission. Obsession is not affection. And showing up uninvited is not love. It is a crime. If someone truly admired him, they would protect his peace, not break it. In one of my earlier videos, I talked about the violent home invasion involving the actress Nana, a case where a boundary wasn't just pushed, but shattered completely. Jungkook's situation is different, but the echo is unmistakable. For public figures in South Korea, the line between public life and private safety has always been thin. Nana's case showed how quickly intrusion can escalate into violence. Jungkook's shows how quietly a pattern can form. Danger doesn't always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives with repeated button presses, silent footsteps in a parking garage, or a suitcase at the door. And the truth is, it isn't just Jungkook, and not just Nana. Many idols and actors, rookies, seniors, trainees, experience versions of this silently. Strangers waiting outside dorms, people slipping letters under gates, uninvited figures appearing in parking structures, elevators, or building hallways. Some stories surface briefly, but most never reach the public at all. The idea of celebrity safety is an illusion. A keypad is secure only until someone keeps pressing it. A gate is protective only until someone slips behind a car. A building is safe only until the wrong person finds a moment of weakness. And that is the saddest contrast in all of this. The world sees Jungkook as the golden maknae, a powerhouse performer with global presence. But those who truly watch him, the fans who've been here for 10 years, the people who understand him beyond the stage, know that he moves through the world gently. He gives softness and receives violations he never deserved. He gives music that heals millions, and yet a stranger with a suitcase stands at his door. He gives comfort, but when he needed comfort inside his own home, someone else was already there trying to invade it. In the end, These repeated intrusions show something that should never have needed proof. Even the kindest people can be targeted. Even the gentlest idols can be made to fear their own front door. And fame, no matter how bright, will never build a home strong enough to keep everyone out.